guess, with another game video. It's been some time since I've done a game video. In today's video, we're going to talk about Torchlight Infinite. It's going to be a Frost Gemma 3 build showcase, 10+ billion DPS, budget, user-friendly. It can be used as a starter build also. I had done a Torchlight Infinite video in the past. It's one of the great games that I do advise and suggest to everybody. This is going to be more for people that do know about the game. I'm going to showcase the build, show what it's capable of. A little bit about the game. It's a free game. You can get it on your Steam app store. It's one of the excellent top-down isometric ARPGs, and it is still one of the fun ones, meaning that it's quite versatile when it comes to taking at a slow pace, at a fast pace, whatever pace you want. It has quite a few skills, and there's a lot of sort of different mechanics introduced that you have to actually learn through it. It's not such a big steep learning curve in comparison to other games, relatively easy, and it is a comical looking like game, let's say, which is if that's something that you don't like and it puts you off, fair enough. Personally, I really enjoy it. Our character that we're going to showcase is level 97. In this game, usually after level 95, I don't actually focus on leveling anymore. There's no point to it. You pretty much unlock all the skills, and because you do lose XP every now and then when you die, it does become sort of like a very choring task. The point here is just jump in, have fun, and jump back out. It's one of the games that you are able to do this, so it offers you the capability to play for like 10 minutes, 15 minutes and really be done with it. I'm really happy with the build that I've done. I found a way that I can really do most of the content. You can do profound and so forth, but mainly I'm running tier 8 maps. I'm running tier 8, not tier time mark 8. Because I'm a Path of Exile gamer, I sometimes mix up the terminologies. So I'm running time mark 8 on 0, but it can do much more. The reason why I'm doing this is because I much rather not die and have an easier way going through it and increase my speed, like pretty much one-shot all bosses, rather than actually just getting that extra sort of loot and stuff like that. It's one of the builds that you can really start off from an early stage with very little budget, and it works quite good. And then the more you invest, you can go crazy. If you tell me where the budget is that I have invested, it's a little bit above budget. So it's what I began with, and on a couple of items, I have invested a little bit more sort of currency, but not a lot. It's relatively middle towards the low side at the build that you're going to see now. I'm going to talk a little bit about it. I'm going to explain the mechanics. It's very interesting. It's a nice one, let's say. I have been influenced from many similar builds that I've seen from many different players, so there's not like an original idea, but I have kind of pulled all these mechanics into one thing that exactly as I've done it, I have not seen anybody do it. So there is an originality to it as well, and each one of you can actually see it and change it to your liking as well. We're going to go through I'm going to explain the mechanic, how it works. I'm going to showcase all the little parts, the gear that is used and so forth, and towards the end we're going to do a DPS testing, and we're going to do a map showcase as well, just so you can see how it works. So let's go straight into the game. Select our character. It's a Frost Gemma 3 or Flames of Pressure. So if you see the build, you might see Frost Gemma. Frost Gemma is the character, and there's 3 versions of this character. That's why you might see Frost Gemma 1, 2, 3. They're talking about this character here, or you might see it as Frost Gemma Flame of Pleasure. So there's different variations of the specific character. Level 97, as we can see. It's a seasonal character. We're playing on the Sunlord season, and let's go jump right into the game. So, let me explain a little bit the mechanics. Basically, the way that this game plays is you walk around and automatically you are triggering Hammer of the Ash. That's the skill that we're we're causing the damage. You can manually cast the skill also by right clicking. So basically what it does is it slams your weapon. It's a melee skill. It slams the weapon on the floor, it creates an explosion, and there's projectiles which come out that also cause additional projectile damage. One of the key interesting things that I have done, and it's a different take, is I've used multiple iterations of the same skill. So if you see the bottom of my panel here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 4 skills, meaning 4 Hammer of the Ashes being automatically triggered around every 0.5 seconds. And the only movement skill that we're using is our blink. So we're blinking around. We have 2 charges on our blink, which charge quite fast. 1 charge, 2 charges, and we're walking around, and everything is happening by itself. You can actually manually attack as well, but there's no need for it. It gets automatically triggered. So that's the whole thing. It's very basic. You're just walking around, things are getting blown up. I can't say it more simple like that. I do like this type of games, this type of builds, let's say, which are very passive and relaxing. You have a smoke and just play with one hand. Since we're talking about the skills, I think I'm going to start with the skills. So let's showcase the support gens and all the skills that we've got. Support gens, support skills. So this is Hammer of the Ash. We got 1 iteration of it. We're using activation medium track, which is getting casted every 0.4 seconds. This is a good automation skill because it's able to automatically lock, and it's able to trigger the skill up to 4 enemies. We're using quick return, slow projectiles, multiple projectiles, and one of the a little bit more expensive, let's say, support skills is this one here. Hammer of the Ash, Blast Quake. Basically, it minuses a little bit of your damage from here, but it is able to cause additional demolition charges to additional explosions, which ends up being more damage. The number at the bottom here is less if you take the skill out, but it does cause more damage. We got a second iteration of the same skill, which is exactly the same setup. So there's 2 active skills at the moment getting casted, and we have another 2 which, due to the energy and the points, we're not able to make them 6 link, all of them. We've got them on 3 link. Okay, so we got another Hammer of the Ash here and another Hammer of the Ash here. So 2 Hammer of the Ashes are a little bit more basic, and 2 Hammer of the Ashes which are fully linked. You can play a different way. You can put a curse here, you can put other offensive, defensive skills, so you're free to do what you want, but I found, to my liking, that this works better and it boosts my DPS. When it comes to the movement, I'm using Blink with the support skills that you see, and then the auras I've gone mostly defensive, but again here you can do whatever you want. I'm using Steadfast to get a lot of armor. I'm using the Summon Frost Magnus to get life regeneration, so it's defensive again. I'm using a Flame Immune, which is the only offensive aura that I'm using. They are all sealed mana, and I'm using regeneration, which again is able to offer me a protective layer, let's say. The candles, since we're talking about the skills, basically they boost the base weapon damage, and they give me a lot of regeneration. So these are the only 2 stats that I'm looking for, the first one and the last one. Similar with this one, regeneration and base damage to our weapon. That's pretty much as far as the skills go. Let's have a look at the gear. I think it's best to have a look at that as well. So the build, to explain a little bit, is it is a hybrid. It has strength stacking elements into it, which is very meta, let's say, but it has some other little things as well, which I kind of put my own, touch into that. This helmet here is one of the helmets which is based on strength stacking. So we got 23% additional strength. This armor also, Magnus Jealousy, gives us an additional 12% strength. So this is more of the meta, let's say. Where we went different is, instead of using the I think they're called Magnus gloves, something like that, we're using Death Touch. So we're using Death Touch to additionally boost up our physical damage on our main weapon. We're using the necklace, which is an amulet which is focused on demolition charges. So the main important skill here is the second one, which says 24 demolition charge restoration speed, so you're able to have demolition charges more often, and a demolition charge is consumed and creates the explosions, so that's when you get your real damage. And the other one's 198 additional damage for skills when demolition charge is used, so you're focusing on your demolitions. The rest of the gear is quite simple. I've crafted them myself, so I've bought like level 1, let's say, of this gear, and I casually crafted with flame elemental. Nothing crazy. You're focusing basically on trying to get your life, your damage, and your strength, and your resistances, obviously. So if you have a look at this one here, for example, I've got life. It's no crazy roll, like I said, and even if you get like a tier 2, you don't have to be tier 1 everything. Even if you get a tier 2, tier 3, you can start off quite easily, and this is the nice thing about this build. But obviously the more you invest, the better it will become. So resistances, again here, we got gear, we got damage, we got life, resistances, life, damage, strength, resistances, life, strength, damage, resistances, and our main hand weapon is around 800 flame elementals. We had started with a much more budget two-handed hammer, which didn't have the max tenacity blessings. It didn't have a lot of the stats that you see here. It was more of a basic one. As long as you have a weapon that has a lot of physical damage, you're pretty good. The weapon itself, if you have a look at it, it does 870 physical damage. So it's 870 physical damage. If we take away the gloves also, I just want to showcase something. Once we throw it onto our character, 870 physical DPS becomes 1375 DPS. That's because we're using the candles, which boosts up the base damage. And the reason why we're using this glove also is because it does a hectic and crazy. It gives 126 additional base damage on two-hand weapons. So if you have a look at the number here, 1375, and if you throw this on, 4182. That's crazy. To me, it made more of a difference than the strength stacking gloves. A lot more difference. If you get a corrupted version as well, it's even better. Something to mention here is a helmet which can be used on many melee builds, which is a good idea to mention here. As a helmet which does not work good on our build, but it's a helmet to mention. So I will showcase it just for people to know. So Fool's Crown is another helmet that boosts the base damage of your weapon. So if you want to get a big number here on your weapon, this is one of the helmets which is very nice as well. It gives you 102 to 122 physical damage on your main hand weapon. If you see the damage at the moment, it minuses, so it's minus 86 damage because we have strength stacking. But on a different build, it would have been a good thing. If I throw this helmet on, you will see the damage number here from 4182 to go up. So if you throw that on, we've gone to 5272. Even though that number is bigger, we are doing more damage. To be precise, 611% more damage with this helmet because we're utilizing the stacking component. But nevertheless, this helmet in conjunction with these gloves is a good idea to use on different melee builds. So I just wanted to mention that. Let's have a look a little bit. I think it's pretty much it as far as the stats goes. Something to show: our resistances is capped, so you're aiming to get 60 resistances as much as you can. This is the DPS for the different skills. Defensive wise, we're sitting on 52,000 armor, which is quite good. We're getting 68% physical and 40 non-physical damage mitigation, which is also quite good. We have 5,600 life, which is again quite a big pull, and we're restoring per second 553. So this is good enough number in order for you to get the damage over time effect and not have any issue. That's as much as the gear. If you ask me investment wise, I will say most of them are around the 50 flame elementums, which is very cheap. The only exception is this weapon here, which is around 800. If you want to go a little bit better, you can invest on a weapon that has a base physical DPS of around 1500, I will say, which will cost you around 2000 flame elementals, so twice and a little bit more than what I have invested, and that's obviously going to skyrocket your DPS. But for the content that I'm doing, I don't think it's necessary. I don't need that much DPS, you know what I mean? At least for what I'm doing, which is tier mark 8, it's doing it very, very comfortably. And you can push, like I said, I have tried to do profound, but she does die a lot, and I didn't like that. So that's as much as the weapon. I think from gear wise, we're good. We're pretty much set. I'm going to showcase the hero trait just to see what I have selected. It's quite basic, and this is quite meta, so it's not original, like I said. Basically, you're just going down your hero trait, and here you're selecting the second one, so not Flames of Desire, Infernal Damnation, and instead of Banquet of Bliss, we're selecting Dread Flicker. As far as our hero memories, the first one that we're using is a lot of strength. It helps our strength stacking, let's say. Damage, armor, attack damage, fire damage, all these things are relevant. If you want to have a look on what kind of things can affect your skill, you can click here on your expanse, and these are the tags that you can increase your skill. So at the moment, if you get some item which increases your area damage, your fire damage, attack damage, melee damage, projectile damage, or horizontal projectile damage, all these things will affect that skill. So this is an easy way to understand what is affecting it and what is not affecting it. So let's go back here again. As you can see, attack damage, because our skill is an attack skill, it affects it, and fire damage also affects it, and pure damage also. On the second hero memory, we're using a lot of life, so we're a life-based build. Damage, some critical, some fire damage, and some critical again. Sorry for the smoke. I do not advise that for anybody. And the third one, we put a bit of movement speed. Attack speed and cast speed doesn't really affect our build because we're automatically triggering our skills. Therefore, we went for the movement in order for us just to have a better map clear. Minion damage is something that I did not want to get, and I wanted to get something better. But we got a big roll on the damage, attack damage, and again fire damage. So this is pretty much the hero trait. Moving on, I think, to the last component, which is the passives. Let me show the pets, one second, second last. So the pets that we're using, again, they're focused mainly on attack damage, critical, attack speed. This one, double attack, attack damage, and multi-strike. They're not the best pets, but this is what I'm using at the moment. Attack damage, attack critical, and attack speed. So if you have a look at our points, this is pretty much what it looks like for our pets. We're moving on to the passives, and this is the last component, and then we're going to showcase a map. For some reason my smoke is going out. The first skill tree that we're selecting is God of Might, and we're selecting this God of Might in order for us to convert any physical damage of the weapon to additional fire damage and to boost up our DPS also. It's one of the best sort of the first passive trees that you get, and we have done it hybrid. We've gone a little bit defensive, a little bit offensive. You can choose to go however you want. Instead of getting this, for example, which gives you additional life and armor, I've gone down this path. You can actually go up here, so you can check, you can boost your critical damage more, and you can boost your projectile damage or your skill area. And because it's an area skill, both of these are affected. So you can go more offensive, you can go more defensive. The main thing here is that we've chosen this one here, so we're able to convert our damage to fire damage. And other than that, you're just investing on different points. You can actually go critical. You can get some life regain. That's also a defensive layer, which is good. Anyway, I'm not going to delve a lot on what you can select. You can have a quick look at it from here. From then and on, each one of you can mix and match. The 12th level skill that we have enabled is Tenacity Blessings. This is a defensive layer. It gives us 4 damage reduction, which later on we convert to offensive. You can actually select other ones here depending on your like. This is what I have chosen. And the 24 level 1 is additional attack damage. Attack speed, like I said before, because we're automatically triggering, it doesn't affect our skill. Second passive that we're choosing is Warlord. The reason why we're using Warlord is because it helps us on the strength stacking. So the only thing that I'm going to show here is that we're actually increasing our strength. So we're stacking our strength here. We're going additional 10% strength here, additional 15% strength here, fire damage, and 1% fire damage plus 6 strength. So we're boosting our damage and our strength stacking. This is part of the reason why you choose this talent. We're using fire penetration for every stack of tenacity blessings. We have tenacity blessings, so it's additionally boosting up our damage. You can go with other ways here also, but I found that that's the best one. And for this one here, we're selecting more area damage depending on the proximity. So it helps with explosions. Sometimes the enemies, when they're in the center, it causes more damage to them. And the last one that we're using is Onslaughter. And the reason why we're using this is because we're boosting the physical damage, which we're converting to fire damage from the God of Might. And again, here, like I said, you can go offensive, you can go defensive. I think I've gone a little bit, yeah, I've got a little bit of life here, which is like more defensive, let's say. Additionally, you're buffing up your strength, and you're getting, you're buffing up your life, and you're buffing up your life per strength. So since this is a strength, this passive skill, this passive tree also helps, and we're boosting the base damage of our weapon. So we get additional weapon. That's why when we throw the weapon on, instead of 800 something, the damage gets buffed up. Additional critical, we're inflicting paralysis, and 12 additional base damage for two-hand weapons. So the two-hand hammer is a two-hand weapon. Our 16 major skill is we're changing the tenacity blessings that I mentioned before. Instead of 4 damage reduction, it actually does 8% additional damage. So we're converting with this skill from defensive to offensive. If you want to keep the defensive, you can actually choose something else depending on your likes. And for the last one, we're using additional attack damage when we are not low in life. And because we are not low in life, and it gives you defensive as well. When you go to low life, it does restore 4% of your life. So sometimes it saves you. It's both an offensive and a defensive skill. It's very nice. That's pretty much it about the passives. The only other thing that I did not mention is the Statue of God. As you saw previously here, our main skill that we're using is level 20, and we have buffed up its level plus 11. So our skill is 31 level in total, and this holds true for all of them. The way that we did this is via our Statue of the God. So we're focusing on fire skill level. This is the only thing. You can buy this relatively cheap, so I'm talking about between 10 and 30 flame elementals. It's quite cheap. We're using 3 sort of straight ones, 3 corner ones, and 2 square ones. We're not using a God of Divinity. I know a lot of people are using that. I did not like it. So we're getting +1 fire skill, some movement speed, some damage. Fire skill, the only important thing here, fire skill again, and 80% damage, and a little bit of critical strike rating. But the main thing that you're focusing is to get your level up as well. A little bit of life regain, so that gives us a little bit of, let's say, restoration. Fire skill, and from chest armor, this is defensive and offensive. Again, fire skill over here. And for these 2 square ones, we're basically focusing on strength. So we're building up our 50% strength. That's the only thing that you need to search for when you're buying this God of Minds. So again, on this one here, 15% strength. Again, it has attack damage, and it gives us some other things as well. For example, this one, attack damage, I've got some life regeneration, which is good. Area damage, our skill is an area, so it also affects us. And critical rating, since it's an attack skill. That's pretty much it, guys, that I wanted to mention and showcase. It's an awesome, beautiful build. And let's move on to one of our map showcases, just so you can see how it works. It's quite fast, you will see it. A lot of explosions, and all I'm doing is just walking around and dashing. Nothing more, nothing less. We are on the time mark 8 at the moment. This is why we're running this quite quick for us and quite enjoyable without dying at all. As far as the map, let's say, passive skills, on the profound, we've got 4 points here. Usually when you go in one of the maps, you have 6 attempts. This one minuses 4 attempts, meaning that if you die once, you only have 1 attempt. That's why we're selecting time mark 8 to make it a little bit more safe. And we're going with an additional drop quantity. So we're focused on drop quantity. as far as the profile goes. We are utilizing a little bit the Trial of God, I think it's called, God of War. Yeah, we're focusing a little bit on the God of War. We're buffing up how long the duration of it. When you kill enemies, how many level it goes up, and additional monsters to spawn. We're not using the chance to trigger it because we're using a compass, and I will show how that works. So this is one of the things, and all the rest of the points will go to our drop, our loot. So this is what it looks like. We spec a drop quantity with additional mobs up here. And let's pick one of the maps. Usually I go here. So on the map we've actually buffed it up to get additional 100% drop quantity. And the compasses that we're using, the main one is this one here. And the only reason why we're using the God of War is in order for us to clear the map quicker. So once you trigger God of War, the more enemies you kill, the more faster you're going to go through the stage. That's the only reason why we're using this. And the rest of it is just buffing up the density. 10 additional groups of normal monsters and 5 additional groups of magic monsters. That's what we were using. So it's a very basic setup. Obviously you can do much more different combinations, but this is what we're using. Let's open up the map and let's go for it. So we're triggering the God of War and we're killing enemies. And if you see the time on the top left hand side, you will see that it is climbing up. We got 60 seconds, and as far as we got that time up, we're able to go faster and faster and faster. So if you see, our movement speed is quite good. We're just walking and dashing, collecting all the loot, obviously. Walking and dashing, quite safe. We're picking up pretty much everything, and then we're just breaking it down for secondary components. Like I said, it is quite a bit defensive. As you can see, I'm walking through area damages and different sort of things. You don't have to have your mind too much onto it. And this is part of the reason why I'm selecting the difficulty that I'm selecting, because I want to make sure that I don't die not even once. If I do die, like in a rare occasion, then I have one attempt, and that's usually good enough. So we selected everything. If you have a look, our movement speed is quite fast. We have 24 seconds, which is a lot of time to clear the map. If I end this, we get a couple of loot, and our movement speed is quite a bit slower. So this is the reason why we're going with the God of War trial. We exit the map. It's as simple as that. It's quite quick, and again, like I said, I have tried Profound with this build, but you know. And the last thing, just to showcase the DPS, we'll go to our test dummy, we'll trigger the level 85, and you can see the DPS at top. If you paid attention, it went all the way to 25 million, but because the average is around 10 billion, sorry, this is a 10 billion, I will say 10 billion plus build. It does go higher, okay, and you can boost it even higher. So let's stop that. And that's about it, guys. I'd like to thank everybody for your time. I suggest this build to everybody. You can do it the way that you want, so you don't have to steal the idea exactly like I have it. Do the same thing that I did. Have a look at a couple of other builds online. Have a look at my one. This is a good, awesome idea. It's a very fun build, and you can actually, you know, clear most of the content. And it depends on how you like it. You can go more defensive, more offensive. Very versatile. Anyway, that's about it from me, guys. I'd like to thank everybody for your time, and I'll be just goodbye. Goodbye.